A young girl overhears a loud and violent argument between her parents. Not only that, but also a loud screech coming from the forest. She begins to experience a seizure. The girl leaves her house and hears the screeches again. She runs toward the forest, and that's how it begins. Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap the movie. After the death of her mother, the grieving teenager, Gretchen, moves with her father Luis, her stepmother Beth, and her mute half-sister Alma to a tourist town in the Bavarian Alps in Germany. The family is there to help build a new hotel, overseen by the enigmatic Herr Koenig. Gretchen goes to the bathroom, and suddenly someone enters. She thinks it's her stepmother, but her stepmother comes in to tell her that Herr Koenig will take them to their new house. The person who entered was a mysterious woman. At home, her dog seems to witness something strange in the forest, and then the neighbor Bonomo arrives. She is the chief doctor at the local hospital, whom Herr Koenig introduces to Gretchen. Later, she leaves voice messages for her deceased mother, regretting having moved in with her father. She knows her mother is dead, but hearing the answering machine helps her with her grief. Herr Koenig arrives and offers Gretchen a job at the hotel reception to help her adjust. The receptionist, Beatrix, helps her settle into the job. Suddenly, a woman starts vomiting. According to Beatrix, this happens often, but Gretchen still finds it strange. Afterward, while watching her sister play guitar, Alma begins to hear a reverberating scream, just like the girl at the beginning. And like the other girl, she starts having seizures. Gretchen tries to touch her, but when she hears the scream, she enters a time loop until Alma scratches her. The next day at work, Beatrix leaves Gretchen in charge. She falls asleep until a guest named Ed arrives. As she's giving the room key to the guest, another woman starts vomiting. At that moment, Herr Koenig calls her to close the hotel. Gretchen hangs up to check on the vomiting woman, but finding no one, she closes everything and leaves on her bicycle. As she leaves, Herr Koenig arrives to look for Gretchen. Not finding her, he begins to play a flute. Meanwhile, on her way home, Gretchen realizes a woman is following her. She rushes to the nearby hospital, hitting her head in the process. The woman approaches her, but when a nurse arrives, there's no one there. The police arrive to ask Gretchen what happened, but the officer believes it was just a prank. At the hospital, she learns her parents brought her sister in because she had another seizure. The doctor tells Luis that Alma could have epilepsy. Gretchen leaves another message for her mother, telling her that she finds it strange that Alma might have a disease and that she wants to return. At work, she meets a police investigator named Henry Lando, who asks her about the woman who chased her. Since Gretchen doesn't want to answer, he leaves. Ed comes to return the room key, and Gretchen goes with her to make out before fleeing with her, taking the money from the cash register. As they drive, they hear the strange scream again, and Gretchen re-enters the time loop over and over until the hooded woman suddenly appears, causing the car to crash. Gretchen is gravely injured, and when she wakes up, the woman grabs Ed and throws her. The woman tries to catch Gretchen until a car arrives, and we see Gretchen in the hospital with her sister. Herr Koenig tells her it's better for her to stay and recover to avoid further harm, and forgives her for stealing the money. Her father arrives and argues with his daughter, not believing the story about the woman, thinking Gretchen is just a rebellious child and that her behavior is the reason Alma is sick. Gretchen vents to her mother again. At night, Officer Henry appears, telling her that he saved her life and saw the woman who has been chasing her. He asks Gretchen to help him find the woman, as he believes she may be connected to a murder and that she will return to attack her again. He tells her that if she helps him, he will take her wherever she wants to go, but under the condition that she doesn't tell anyone, as Henry doesn't trust anyone. According to Henry's investigation, a couple rented a vacation cabin. The husband called the police, saying he had passed out during the night, and when he woke up, he found a blonde woman next to his unconscious wife. The woman let out the scream we've heard before. He chased her into the woods, but she disappeared. When the husband returned to the cabin, his wife had choked on her own vomit.
Jesus.
Gretchen remembers the woman she saw vomiting the other night, thinking she might be related to the hooded woman. They go to where she was staying. She and Henry keep watch over the cabin, where they find Beatrix and a police officer who hears the woman scream and starts the time loop. The woman appears, and Henry notices. The officer is knocked unconscious, while the woman tries to insert a disgusting slime into Beatrix. But she's interrupted by Gretchen and Henry. Henry chases the woman and shoots at her through the forest until he loses her. The next day, Gretchen confronts her Koenig, asking him why there are no receptionists at night, as people might need help. He tells her it's not important. Gretchen asks why he brought her family to this place, and he starts playing the flute, saying her family belongs here.
That's a fucking weird way to put it.
Accidentally, her Koenig mentions that a package has arrived for the family containing items that belong to Gretchen's mother. Her father is forced to confess that he sold their old family home. In her anger, Gretchen punches her father. She retreats to her room and listens to the old voice messages she used to send to her mother. Among the messages, she hears one from Alma, using text-to-speech, asking Gretchen's mother to respond to Gretchen's voice messages and visit the family. Gretchen leaves her room and notices that her family is not there. Koenig tells her that her behavior caused Alma to have a seizure and that they took her to the hospital. He says he'll take her to the nearest train station so she can leave, but first, they'll stop by the house to give her some money. She leaves a note for her parents. When they arrive at the house, we realize that Koenig has Henry tied up. Koenig reveals that Henry is a disgraced police officer and locks Gretchen in a pool house that has been converted into a dormitory, spraying her with pheromones. Koenig tells her that she is seen as a threat to the survival of his project, which is why he had to lock her up. He uses a flute to summon a creature, the same girl seen running into the forest at the beginning of the movie. The girl uses the scream to trap Gretchen in the time loop as she approaches her. The girl hits Gretchen and tries to insert the slime into her, just as we saw with Beatrix, but she's interrupted by Koenig. He confesses that the couple we heard fighting at the beginning were Henry and his wife, meaning the girl is Henry's daughter. Koenig tries to drown Gretchen, but Henry, who managed to escape, arrives and shoots him, and his daughter too because he doesn't consider her his daughter. But that will be understood later. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Beth thinks something bad is happening to her daughter, although they try to calm her down, saying everything will be fine. Henry believes the women at the hotel are being impregnated to give birth to these creatures, much like the cuckoo bird. In case you didn't know, the cuckoo bird lays its eggs in other birds' nests and then lets those birds raise its offspring. Gretchen starts vomiting. Henry grabs a photo that Gretchen had and realizes that her parents had their honeymoon at the hotel. Gretchen and Henry head to the hospital, realizing that Alma might be one of those creatures called homunculids. There, they encounter Koenig's staff, led by Dr. Bonomo, who is preparing to reunite Alma with her real mother, the hooded woman. We learn that the hooded woman is not human but a member of a nearly human species that relies on brood parasitism, much like cuckoo birds. The females of the species implant their eggs in human women until they are ready to join their true species. Koenig has been experimenting with preserving this species at the hotel. Henry's daughter was part of this species, which is why he shot her. Henry plans to kill Alma's mother and Alma. We realize that her Koenig is still alive and shoots his staff, determined to carry out the experiment to the end. Koenig approaches Alma, and Gretchen, wanting to save her, hurts Henry, who was trying to stop Gretchen. Gretchen helps her sister, and Alma starts hearing the cries of her real mother, who appears. Gretchen pretends to have Alma hostage so they won't be attacked, but when Alma realizes this, she gets scared and runs away. Gretchen follows and hides when she realizes the woman is following them. Gretchen finds some headphones and she plays music so the screams won't affect her, and then Henry arrives and knocks over the shelves to trap the woman. Alma runs toward her, and Henry tries to shoot but misses due to Koenig. The woman starts screaming, breaking Gretchen's headphones, so she tries to resist the scream. The woman finds Gretchen, and she takes the opportunity to attack her. Meanwhile, Henry continues trying to get rid of Alma. Gretchen tells him that Alma's mother is dead. Henry and Koenig keep shooting at each other as Gretchen regains Alma's trust. When the girls try to sneak out, both men threaten them. Koenig doesn't want to shoot for fear of hurting Alma, and Henry doesn't want to hurt Gretchen. Alma covers Gretchen's ears and emits a powerful scream, disorienting both men long enough for the sisters to escape. Henry and Koenig shoot each other. Outside, the sisters meet Ed, who takes the girls to safety. And that's how the movie ends.